I think a lot of the times what women don't want to talk about is it's like you have these get more bodies, you have more sexual partners, and then now one day you want to settle down and try to have a happy housewife life. And it's like after having all these bodies and having all this memory of these different men going in and out of you, you think you're not going to just be able to just sit down one day and submit to a man and stay loyal to a man after you've had all those different bodies and all those different spirits going in and out of you? And so it's like, not only is there, to me, there's the physical risk that you can have, whether it's pregnancy, whether it's STDs. Some of these dudes could be, who knows? I mean, some of the guys could be dangerous. Who knows? But even apart from that, now you're talking about, this is more experience, more and more experience, more mileage you're adding to your body. And then if you think you have sex with some of these men, and some of these men literally have sex for a living. So if you're, for lack of a better term, you're going and you're engaging in sex with prostitutes, you're engaging with men who basically their profession, apart from whatever else they do on the side, is to pleasure women sexually. You go and have those experiences. Now, any and every man that you interact with, you're going to be judging based upon that. You're going to be judging based upon that fantasy. And then now you're supposed to just sit down one day and then just have a happy-go-lucky housewife and be satisfied in that relationship and be satisfied sexually with that man and be satisfied emotionally. And you're not going to now compare him to that fling that you had in Jamaica. And so I think also women start setting themselves up because it's like there's more mileage. And then now you're creating an appetite for something that is largely unrealistic. And then now everything that you do, every man that you attempt to date, every man that you try to settle down with, if you're even trying to do that, you're now going to judge based upon that lens. Nobody's going to measure up, especially if you are now judging that man to a man who has sex professionally. Nobody's going to measure up. And even if he does measure up, when the relationship gets sour, when you start having communication issues, you're going to be thinking back to that time in Jamaica where men were doing whatever you wanted for them. And so it creates this appetite, in my opinion. It creates this appetite, an unhealthy appetite that can never be satisfied. And this is coming from elders. That woman who spoke, she was an elder in the community. Her thought was, strap it up, not a big deal, don't judge. But the thing is, you can't have sex with multiple men and act as if you're not going to have repercussions. You can't do that. I mean, there's literally, now I don't want to confirm this, right? But there's theories that I've heard about anytime a woman, some theories suggest that anytime a woman has sex with a man, he literally leaves his genetic material in her body. This is a theory I've heard. Now, I have to go back and see if it's confirmed, but I'm like, if you think about it, just the anatomy of a woman, right? Anytime a man is entering into her woman, his sperm's going in there, even if she is wearing a condom, there's bodily fluids, it's like he is entering into her body. Now, times that by 10, 20, 50. Let's say you're a woman walking around with the genetic material of 50 men in your body. That ain't going to mess up your pH balance. That ain't going to mess up your hormones. That ain't going to mess up your psychology. Like, we act like we can do these behaviors and there's no repercussions, and that's not real life. That's maybe what you see on televisions. That's maybe what we see in these different series. But the reality of how it impacts you, it's not just physical, it's not just emotional, it's spiritual. It impacts you on every single level. This is why I don't agree with that. And like, so that's a whole nother conversation. Somebody will fight me tooth and nail on that. But you can't sit here and tell me that you have all these women who are sexually free. Meanwhile, many women are on antidepressants. They're struggling with anxiety. They're struggling with all kinds of mental illness. And you can't tell me there's not somehow a connection, or there could possibly be a connection between this supposed sexual liberation that women have and the fact that many of us, even with all this available to us, are still not happy. That's what I'm saying. pH balance off, smells off, everything just off. Okay, so real quick, I did see some super chats come through. Shout